If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio. Hello guys and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to do a body language comparison video of Geralt and Jaskier from The Witcher. Now I may do a part 2 in the future where I just dedicate to The Witcher himself, Geralt, but I think in this particular video it's going to be nice to see a comparison. I watched this clip earlier, thought it was pretty cool, the difference in behaviours, and let's get this played.
Now, stop your boorish grunts of protest.
Okay, so that's not good straight away. Let's fast forward because I know
It is one.
There we go, there's a better view. So, having your hand across your midsection like this, it isn't good, okay? Unless you're boxing, you're in the Philly shell or something like that. But they both do the same thing, okay? When you're boxing, you're protecting this midsection. It's got all your vital organs in. If it gets hit, it's dangerous. Now, if you're doing this in a non-confrontational scenario, and you're protecting your midsection, you're not actually fighting, then you're showing that you're fear to the world because you're protecting these vital organs. You know, it's very similar to a woman might have a handbag. We've all seen a woman who's sat down with a handbag on her lap or something. She's positioned it here, like in front of her. It acts like a shield. Like I remember Ed Sheeran, the artist, always talks about how he feels scared without his guitar. Was because there's no protection in front of him and the other people. Like it's an extra barrier. It is like a shield. And you see a lot of guys with, let's say, a bottle or a glass or something like that in a club, and they're holding it here or they're holding it up here, and they're like kind of using it as a barrier to everybody else around. Ideally, what you want to do is always have your hands down and by your sides. But let's say if you were holding a bottle, for example, guys, or a drink in a club, hold it like down here. Just hold it in your hand down here. It's so much better. Never hold it in front of your midsection, other midsection, or up here around your neck and, you know, throat region. That's just not a good idea, okay?
Bodyguarding your very best friend in the whole world.
Okay, that's not good either. This limp wrist here. This isn't good, okay? It's not a good posture to have. So he's got the limp wrist and the one hand in front of it. It's very feminine in terms of movement and actions.
World, how hard could it be?
I'm not your friend.
Oh, really? Oh, you usually just let strangers rub chamomile onto your lovely bottom.
Okay, so that was very interesting. Those last like 10 seconds, I let that play for quite a bit. But we can see that he fidgets a lot, he moves, he makes a lot of expressive hand gestures. This is something that's associated with female behavior, you know, being overly expressive. Now you can get the Ragnar Lothbrok, like the wide arms, it's what they call a power pose, like I showed you guys that before. It's an open body gesture. Now that is fantastic. That is dominant body language. You're making yourself big, you're displaying open body language, which shows that you're not in fear. But making too many gestures, one after the other, like this guy is here, it's not good. Just watch.
Oh, really? Oh, you usually just let strangers rub chamomile on...
There were about 4 or 5 gestures in that small little move there. And like I said, it's just not a good look, guys. It's very feminine behavior. As a dominant man, you want to move less. You don't want to be shuffling. You don't want to be making too many hand gestures, etc. The interesting thing in terms of body language, if you see a woman who's making a ton of hand gestures and whatever, it usually means that they grew up without a father figure or a dominant role. And what they're trying to do is overcompensate to be... They're trying to overcompensate so that they get heard, they get seen, etc. They become very expressive. It's very weird. I actually used this on a woman once and got laid off the back of it, which was pretty cool. I know that's not what this channel is about, but it's a really interesting story. She's like some beautiful, thick, like French girl. She's really pretty. And she was making so many expressive gestures, and I was like, God, she's moving so much. So I obviously brought up the topic and was like, you grew up without a dad, didn't you? And she was so amazed by like me knowing this that it just one thing led to another. It was pretty cool in that sense. Now I'm not saying that's like a pickup thing that you can do, but body language is pretty accurate to life. You know, the majority of the times I've said that to somebody, 9 out of 10 is usually correct.
...onto your lovely bottom.
See how slow Geralt turns there? Obviously he's referenced his bottom, and he's turning towards him somewhat in disgust or confusion. Watch how slow this is.
Lovely bottom. Yeah.
And also, before he did that, he put his arms on here as wide as he could. Obviously, palms flat. This is somewhat similar. Clenched fist, kind of flat. But the slow head turn as well. That's the difference in movement and behavior. Okay, so we had Jaskier over here. I'm forgetting the names because obviously I haven't watched this. But we've got Jaskier over here fluttering around, making 7-8 movements every 2-3 seconds. Henry Cavill's character, The Witcher, makes 1-2 movement and 3 with the slow head turn. And it's done in a very dominant manner.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
And the way he held that eye contact, and look, he's slowly moving his head to follow him as he walks. It's very predator and prey behavior here, guys. Predator, prey.
Every lord, knight, and
See, we can see it there again. It's the same.
twopenny king worth his salt will be at this betrothal. The Lioness of Sintra herself will sing the praises of Jaskier's triumph.
Okay, the other thing I'd like to bring up, let's just take this back, because this little section here, let me freeze it.
Of Jaskier.
No. Okay, I just want to talk about 2 things. Number 1, how much Jaskier is talked. And that's another thing when it comes to dominant men. They will talk a lot less. They will say what they need to say in less words. Whereas Jaskier needs to really express himself. He needs to fit in more words. When Geralt isn't replying, he's continuing to talk. He's bringing up a new topic. This is something that, again, is associated with female behavior. A dominant man will just say what needs to be said. He will say less, and then he will move on, or he won't answer at all. It's a massive association with female behavior. Now, the second thing I want to bring up is these kind of open palm gestures. Now, I showed you guys earlier with the palm down. It's actually a good way to express, okay? If you don't have the limp wrist, if you're just gesturing, or you're saying I want something to be this way, and you point your palm down with a strong wrist, a strong arm, then it's very dominant. Now, if you're raising your palm to the sky, it's very submissive, as I said. But this, if you're showing your palms as well in this kind of direction, people do that when it's don't shoot, or it wasn't me, kind of putting their hands up. Again, it's submissive body language. It doesn't look too good. It's very weak.
His triumphant performance.
And again, with the movements, he's very jerky. He's moving very quickly. Whereas we've got Geralt here, who hasn't moved, and this power pose I think everybody's probably seen on the internet, where it's very wide, elbows on the side, arms, like as we said in the Bjorn Ironside video, the way that he's just hanging off here. Now, this isn't a limp wrist as such. This is just everything rested, and this is casually rested, okay? Limp wrist is when it's up in the air, when it's being held by, you're doing that action purposely. That's just the way you move. But when it's rested on here, this looks completely normal. It's very strange body language. There's subtle differences. And obviously the strong eye contact, the chin elevated, so he's looking up in the air. This is a complete power pose. This is fantastic.
How many of these lords want to kill you?
Hard to...
Very quick and to the point. How many of these lords want to kill you? And you notice the way he comes down at the end with the sentence?
Want to kill you?
Hard to...
The way it comes down, okay? It's not, how many of these lords want to kill you? He's not coming up. He's saying, how many of these lords want to kill you? And the sentence is going down at the end. It's a statement. That's what it is.
say. One stops keeping count after all.
Now, this behavior here is very childlike. The way he's looking around the room, he can't hold strong eye contact. The posture's not too bad, to be fair, guys. Arms by the side. They're in a little bit too much. I would say they need to come down like that to the side, but I think that could be a gym thing. But the way he's moving around, looking around, like, that's fearful behavior again.
For a while. Wives, concubines, mothers, sometimes. Oh, yeah, that face.
Again, the jerky behavior, the way he just spins round, and the way he sits down here, it's not exactly the most dominant move in the world.
Oh.
If we look at the difference between the two people here, if we freeze this, okay, we've got Geralt with his arms on here, very relaxed, making strong eye contact. And then in reverse, we've got Jaskier here with the palms pointed downwards. We've got the way he sat side straddle, almost like an old lady on a bike, and the way he went from standing to sitting in like a second, okay? If he had done that slower, and maybe put one hand on here, and leant over and look down at Geralt, then that would be a dominant power pose, okay? But the way he's done it changes everything. It changes the dynamic, it changes what we think of both characters and who's the dominant figure, regardless of muscles or whatever, which does help, but we get a completely different image of who these people are and the power dynamic. And you've got to watch out for that, guys, because that will happen in real life. Just coming over to this guy in two different ways, sitting down in side straddle, or being able to like kind of lean on the tub with one hand there, your face around about there, and looking down straight into his eyes. It's the same sort of thing, but it makes the world of difference, okay?
Oh, scary face.
No lord in his right mind will come close if you're standing next to me with a puss like that. Oh, on second thoughts, might want to lay off the Sintra nail. Clear head would be better.
Now, obviously, it's done for comedic purposes, but taking the drink from him and slapping him on the shoulder actually gives him the power. But obviously, it's done for comedic purposes, isn't it, between the two people? So we won't read too much into that. But his reaction, the way he's kind of non-reactive, clenched fist, you can obviously see who has the power in this scenario.
I will not suffer tonight sober just because you hid your sausage in the wrong royal pantry. I'm not killing anyone. Not over the petty squabbles of men.
Yes. You never get involved. Except you actually do all of the time. Ugh, is this what happens when you get old? You get unbearably crotch...
Same again with the hands up in the air, guys. This just isn't good, okay? If you're going to do something like this, preferably gesture like over here with the palm down, okay? That's not the fingers going down. Let me just take that back. If it can go down here like that and then flat, okay? That would work. That would gesture, but it would have to come out in kind of like that angle, if you get what I mean. It's very hard to do on here right now. Maybe I could do it like this. You know, at the same sort of level, but it needs to be straight, okay? When you're raising your palms to the sky and you're showing your palms, like I said, it's like, oh, it wasn't me, you're asking for forgiveness. This just isn't a very dominant pose, okay? It's like something you would see a female do.
And cantankerous. Actually, I've always wanted to know, do witches ever...
See how slow that was, guys? Went from the power pose to this.
I've always wanted to know, do witches ever retire?
Yeah.
Now, hands on the hip can actually be a dominant move. It depends on the scenario, okay? Cocking a head to the side isn't. Either shows that you're interested in something, you're really engaged, or it just shows submissive behavior. Again, something that a female would do. As a man, stand upright, head solid, you know, jaw up in the air, and make strong eye contact. It's the only way to stand, really. But this, it casts a wider shadow. You know, it's something that is associated with mothers, okay? Where they would be telling the child off. But what it does do is it does put you in a power pose, and there's different ways of doing it. So, strangely, the link as well, it's Superman, but we've all seen pictures of Superman or superheroes with their kind of hands on their hips, looking out into the distance and looking great. Now, that helps if you have a real muscular frame and everything comes together. If you don't, you can look like a housewife. So there's two different ways to do it. Now, he switches it up in a minute, and this isn't a good look, but let's fast forward.
When they slow and get killed.
Come on.
How strong is that eye contact, guys? That's fantastic. Again, another strong power pose. We got the same thing again. So, like I showed you in the Bjorn Ironside video, elbows on the side, everything stretched out, making a very large figure, and then the wrists kind of, well, the hands in general just kind of fall down because he's so relaxed. That's what it is. They're not limp, as I said earlier, and the very, very strong eye contact. I know this is the same as earlier, but I think we have to look at it a couple of times so people really get the idea of how this works. And chin elevated up in the air. It looks fantastic. It's a very proud look.
You must want something for yourself once all this...
Okay, here. This is what I was referring to a minute ago. When you've got one hand on the hip, it looks terrible, guys. Just don't do that. Just do not do that. And look, what he needs to do here, okay, is bring this down lower and gesture with the hand kind of in this direction. Like kind of down here and then straight. But what he does is he comes down, it elevates up, and then he has the limp wrist. There's a giant difference, guys. If you just look at these two shapes, one looks masculine, one looks feminine. Isn't that strange, guys? And this line here looks feminine, this one looks masculine. If I just take this away again. It's very weird, right? If you were doing this as a text, if this was kind of like a font, you would say this is the masculine font and this is the feminine font. It's very weird. Shapes mean a lot.
monster hunting nonsense is over with.
I want nothing.
Do you see that, guys? So short response, and then the way he looks at him and then looks down at the ground, hand on the hip, and he's playing with his nails. So he's fidgeting, he's nervous. That's not a good look at all. And just for anybody who says, oh, it's acting, because I'm fed up of replying to this comment, I've actually saved the response because I'm so fed up of replying to it. When people say, yeah, but it's not real, it's acting. It's like, no, guys, these people have literally trained to be like this. They've trained in a certain manner to make it believable. That's why they do these over-exaggerated moves, like this power pose that's on screen now. They do this to give the impression to the audience that he is a dominant alpha male as such. So, you know, anybody who says it's not real, yeah, it is, because that's why they're doing what they do, to make it seem real. There. Do you see it, guys? The way his eyes fluttered and then he looks down, and like I said, he's fidgeting here. It's very, very submissive body language. Probably some of the most submissive I've ever seen.
Well, who knows?
And then very quick. Okay, so he's looking down and then bang, very quick. The head goes up. He's back looking at him again, and let's not think too much about the head looking down, because at the end of the day, he is in the tub, he's at a lower level. But how quickly he moved here. Try and move slowly. Remember earlier, guys, how I showed you Geralt moving very slowly when he was looking left in the tub? That's what you want to do. You don't want to move this quick. Watch the difference.
Well,
that's too fast, guys. That's just too fast. You cannot do it like that. It doesn't work, especially with the hand on the hip. It's too female-like.
who knows? Maybe someone out there will want you.
And again, how quick. Did you see that? Remember I told you guys earlier, it would be fantastic if you could put one hand on the tub, the other hand on the tub, and then lean in and make the same eye contact he's making now, but actually lean in from a higher position so he's looking down and he's in that power position. But what he does instead is he kind of... Now, I'm assuming this guy's gay as well, okay? Now, obviously, very inclusive channel first, man. There's plenty of gay guys that follow us. So I'm not saying anything negative about gay guys here. I'm just saying that their body language is more feminine than masculine, okay? I would assume this guy is gay in real life. I might be wrong. I might be wide of the mark. If he's not, he's just very camp. But the way that he moves down here is very female-like. It's almost like he's slut-dropping or something.
Will want you.
Like he's going down to twerk or something like that, like it's some TikTok dance. You don't really want to move like that, okay? Let's watch this again. So look, hand on the hip.
Maybe someone out there will want
swinging the arms, moving forward at a decent speed.
you.
Straight down into this pose while he was pouting. It's not the most masculine move, is it, guys? So, you know, obviously it depends who you are, what you want to achieve, but if you do want to achieve a more masculine body language kind of tendencies, then, you know, don't do that kind of thing. Do more of what Geralt is doing. Like, move slower, move less, don't fidget, talk less.
And the last thing I want is someone needing me.
And yet, here we...
This is a good body language scene here, okay? The eye contact that's being made from both people. We've got one person who's comfortable with it, eyes straight, relaxed, again, like we said. And then on the other side of the coin, what we've got here is not bad body language. The eye contact is straightforward, but what we can see is his eyes are a lot narrower than these wide eyes that he's giving. Okay, there's a big difference. Always control your eyelids, guys. Like walking around a corner, you see a woman, your eyelids and eyebrows go up. Watch that. Look, eyebrows flat, eyebrows up and elevated. Like, there's a big difference there. The gap between the eye, there's a huge difference. You've got to control that. And then, like I said, arms are relaxed here, but look at the difference. We've got hands clasped in the middle. So he's fidgeting again, he's playing with his hands. He's not comfortable in this scenario.
We are.
I think he's scratching too. I think if we go back a little bit more, watch his hands. He's scratching or moving, he's doing something. He's not comfortable with being still. Now, the reason he's won this body language is because he's looking for his clothes. That's just in the script. Otherwise, I imagine in real life, if this was a real life scenario between these exact two men and this wasn't acting, Geralt would hold that eye contact until he looked away. He would then get up and get on with his day and go and do something else.
Where the fuck are my clothes, Jaskier?
Did you see his eyes there, guys? So he got attacked. Look at that. That's that submissive move, I'm telling you. This is how 99% of guys look when they walk around a corner or they look up and there's a beautiful woman looking at them. So many guys look like this. Eyebrows go up, the eyelids burst outwards, and your eyes just become massive, become double the size. This doesn't, necessarily doesn't usually happen, but the nostrils become flared. Like the whole body is just saying, oh wow, it's either shock or nerves or something like that, and it's just changed completely. And that's all from him saying, "When the fuck are my clothes?" A very forward statement, very dominant statement.
Well, they were sort of covered in Selkie guts, so I sent them away to be washed. Anyway, you're not going...
Again, you see the number of hand movements, guys? There's so many. Just stay still. I don't know why so many guys are so bad at this. Like, unless you are describing something, giving a lesson or something like that, which is different, you have to move, you have to express. When you're having these one-to-one conversations, just hold eye contact, stop this face tilt, just keep your head still, look somebody dead in the eye, and be comfortable with doing nothing. Let your words do the talking, okay? You don't have to move around, you don't have to express everything, you don't have to move your hands together and clasp them together and keep moving your face too much. Just talk like Geralt.
Going tonight as a witcher.
See how he's not moving, guys? It's the big difference, okay? Strong eye contact, power pose, not saying anything, no facial movements, whatever. Like, the less you do as a man, usually the better it is, okay? But thanks for watching as always, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio.